I read 16 books during the month of March, and let's just say we are back because I had so many great books that I read this month, and I cannot wait to show them to you guys. Looking at these books just makes me happy because I read, I think, I don't know, 6 or 5, or I don't know, I read a lot less in January and February than I did in March, and I think a large part was just like, I wasn't finding books that I was obsessed with. Like I was finding a few, but I wasn't really finding ones that were making me excited to read, which was like a trickle down because when I would read a book I didn't like and I would pick up another book, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna feel the same way about this new book that I did about the old one. And I just like kept feeling like I wasn't gonna get that great read. And I don't know what it was about this month. I just like really hit my groove and found some really great books. So we're gonna get into these. I'm actually gonna share these based on genre because I feel like that's how you guys like me to share the books the best. But there are 2 books that I'm not going to share what I rated them, and you guys are gonna have to go back and watch the video I posted on Saturday. I don't usually do this, but because this video is so closely uploaded with my Saturday video, I don't want to like give you every single recommendation from that video. You know what I mean? Like I read a lot of books on the video that went up on Saturday, and I don't want to like share all of the reviews here because I just know some of you guys probably haven't watched it yet because that other video is a little bit longer. So the 2 books that I'm not going to share the recs, but you can go on to Goodreads and see my ratings there, are these 2 books here. The first one is I Think They Love You by Julian Winters, and this is a queer romance and it focuses a lot on self-acceptance and also on living up to the expectations that people have around you. And then this, Harlem Rhapsody, is a book that was a very highly anticipated read for me, and it was one that I just could not wait to pick up. So these 2 books, if you want to see my ratings, you can either go to Goodreads, which I always have linked below. It's in a little section that says like my socials. I have like everything linked there, or you can watch Saturday's video. I am going to share some of the books that I read and that I shared in Saturday's video. I just am not going to share all of them. So let's get into historical fiction first. I read 1 historical fiction this month. I kind of toned it down a bit because I read so many historical fictions in January and February. And so in March, I was just like, I want to read 1. I feel like 1's enough. But I did kind of read another one that gives the vibe of historical. I mean, I guess it is a vibe of historical fiction because it's about history, but it's like in a different format. And I will share that in a second. But I read The Darkest Child. This book was one that I had highly recommended to me. I don't think this one was my favorite. It was one that really focused on the trauma of the characters in this book versus like their adversity to get through that trauma. And you guys know I'm someone that is really passionate about how even if you have a hard life, that there still is joy within it. You just have to really, really look for it. I just feel like God is like given all of us the ability to find glimpses of something beautiful no matter what we're going through. And I feel like this book focused so much on the hardships that I was just waiting for the small moments of joy that just didn't come. And again, it's like, I think a lot of that comes with the perspective maybe of the writer. And also I do think that when you have books like this, you do connect with the characters a lot more because you are rooting for them and you want them to get through those things. But this one just wasn't my absolute favorite. I also think that it didn't really have the things that I thought it would have in the book because going into this book, I mean, you see a little girl, she has like shoes, and like on the back of the book it talks about schools being desegregated and her going to this school that's like a white school. So I thought that was going to be like a big focus of the book, which is a very minor part of the book. So just changing my perspective from what I thought the book would be to what it actually was also something that was like a little hard to get over. But again, still a good book. It just wasn't like a 5-star read for me. I expected it to be one of those like very highly rated, like, oh my God, I can't stop talking about this. And it was good, but it was more like a 3-star range for this one. Then I also read Dark Matter. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to rate this book because it is one that kind of leaves you like what the heck? Like, if you like the show Severance, I really feel like you will like this book. I read this book and immediately wanted to watch the show after reading this book because I didn't know that it was like a show, but I think it's a show on Apple TV. I ended up landing at 4 stars for this book. I really did enjoy it. I thought maybe 4.5 and I was like, I don't know. It was really good. It was really good. If you're someone who wants to get into science fiction, you should definitely pick this one up. I didn't think that I was a science fiction girly, and then I read this, so I was like, oh yeah, I could see myself really loving this. I also recommended the show to Brady. Granted, I haven't watched it, but I recommended it to him because he loves anything with like just galaxies and stars and like different dimensions and all the things. He like really loves that, and we love like watching shows like that. So I think we're gonna watch this show together. Even though I read the book, I really want to watch the show, which just goes to show that it was a really, really good and thought-provoking book. Can't really tell too much about this book because I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to leave it there. If you are someone who wants to get into science fiction and you've heard about this book and all the hype that is behind it, the hype is real. It is so good. So good. It's also really easy to read. I think in my head, I always assume that like these books, like science fiction books, will be really like dense and boring, but this had tons of dialogue, and a lot of the sentence structure was like 1 or 2 words, and then it would be like another sentence that was 1 and 2 words. So it was like very easy to digest, and you're quickly flipping through the pages, and you don't know what's gonna happen, which like, it had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, what is going on? And I love books like that. So really enjoyed this one. I also read books that I don't always film because I don't usually film on the weekends. If you guys notice, whenever I do my vlogs, they almost always start on Monday and end on Friday. But I do read on Saturday and Sunday. So sometimes I'll read books that I start and finish on the weekend. Usually it doesn't happen like that. Usually like if I'm reading a book on a Friday, I might tell you in a vlog like, hey, haven't finished this one yet, but I'll probably finish it over the weekend. This is what I think I'm gonna rate it. But then there's sometimes where I will literally start a book and finish it the same weekend. And I did that with this one. This one was my was my only graphic novel that I read of the month. And this was a really good book because it was a really powerful story about the Holocaust, and it's called The Girl Who Sang. It's a story of hope, of survival. It's I don't want to say easily digestible because that's definitely not that. Like, I think any time that you're talking about history that is like so hard and just like so many people suffered, it's not easy to digest in any capacity. But I do think that if you're someone who wants to get into historical fiction, or at least see if you like reading about true events, maybe pick up a graphic novel. This one was really, really good. I just feel like graphic novels are so underrated. I feel like people will very rarely read them, and I wish more people would pick them up, because anytime I'm feeling like I'm in a slump, or anytime I'm just wanting to like read something in a day, sometimes I'll pick up a thriller. Sometimes I will, because I can read a thriller like very quickly in a day. But then there's other times where I'm like, I just want something to feel like a movie. I want to have like pictures. I want to have like a quick visual, and graphic novels give that to me every single time. I just really, really enjoyed this one. So definitely pick up a graphic novel if you're someone who likes to read a book in one day. They're really fun, and even when it is like a harder topic like this one, because again, this wasn't necessarily fun to read because it's like a harder topic, it was very enjoyable, and I feel like I learned a lot without the storyline being like really dense or hard to get through, which I think some historical fictions can be that. And then I read 3 contemporary fictions, which these are quickly becoming some of my favorite types of books to pick up, and I think it's because I never know what I'm gonna get, and I feel like with romance, which will always be my first love, at least I think it will be, you kind of know what you're getting into, whether it's a heartfelt romance or it's a fluffy cutesy read. You almost always know you're going to get that happily ever after, and with contemporary fiction, you really don't. I read The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. This kind of feels like it was forever ago because I read it at the beginning of the month, or at least I think I did. And this one was really good. It was actually super similar to the movie. So if you've watched the movie in theaters, you probably don't need to read the book, but I do think if you've read the book, you should watch the movie. And you're probably thinking like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But like, if you read the book first, you should watch the movie. But if you watch the movie, you probably don't need to read the book afterward. I watched the movie first, but I knew I wanted to read the book afterward. So it did give like a very immersive experience, but I think that the movie lends so closely to the actual like book itself. It kind of felt like I was rereading it, but it was nice to have that visual of like what happened. So I think that if you read the book first and you watch the movie afterward, or no, maybe the other way around would be better, like the way that I did it, where I watched the movie and then I read the book, that might be more enjoyable, because I feel like if I read the book first, I don't know, having that visual is just really nice. And this book is written in a way that feels like a little artistic. And the artistic writing, it's not necessarily lyrical, but it's kind of written just in a different way. I feel like having a visual was really helpful. So did enjoy this one. Read this right after the Reformatory, which I wasn't sure if I would enjoy reading those stories back to back because they're kind of about the same things, but I really, really loved that experience. And I actually think it was better than if I had like taken a break between the two books. And then I read Sky Falling. Guys, please read this book. Please freaking read this book. This is such a great read. I laughed out loud so many times reading this. This is about a woman who decides to give up her eggs because she's just like trying to make a little money on the side. And then one of her eggs ends up coming up to her as an adult after they're obviously born and not an egg anymore. And they're like, hey, I'm your daughter. And she's like, huh? Like, I did not expect that. Like, I'm not ready to be a parent. Like, it was just such a good story. You also get a like snippet of a sapphic romance in this as well. I thought it was so good. I laughed out loud so many times. There was a point in this book where the main character, she goes to her daughter, like the girl who had just come up to her, she goes to her daughter's, spelling bee, and her daughter's like really good at like spelling, and she ends up getting a word wrong. She's like, dang. And then the girl who she's like up against gets the word right, and everyone starts clapping, and she goes, boo. And the person who's like over the spelling bee is like, can all parents please refrain from booing the children in the auditorium? And she's like, well, technically I'm not a parent. Like, it just, there were so many funny moments, and she was definitely a character who did not have her life together. She kind of realized that as the book like went on, and she is kind of unbearable at the beginning of the book, but you see why she is the way she is when you realize the trauma that she's went through. It was such a good book, and I had not heard anyone talk about it until I asked one of you guys, what are some contemporary fictions that I should read that, I don't know, I would really enjoy that are by Black authors, and you guys recommended this one, and I picked it up and loved every second of it. So please pick this one up. If you had to pick up any contemporary fiction, I don't know, because the next one I read was also really good, but I think that this one is more underrated. Like, the other one is pretty, like, a lot of people talk about it. So if you want to pick up a contemporary fiction that's like pretty funny, this one's a good one to read. And then I read Yellowface. This is the first book that I've read by R.F. Kuang. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. The main character did make me want to throw the book across the room, which so many of you guys said would happen. I also think that this book was one I thought would be like boring. And I don't know why. I think it's because the people who read Babel or who read like the Poppy War, they're like, you know, real like literary people. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, they're drinking black coffee. They're like, they're in these literary circles that I'm probably not interested to be in. And I don't know, I just didn't think it would be interesting because of that. And again, that's assumption that I made, and I think too often we as readers will do that. We will assume that a book is like a certain way based on who's read it or who's recommending it, and sometimes it's not even like that, or even who wrote it, you know? Like, I know that this is an author who, I've seen some of her clips online. She's incredibly intelligent. And I think in my head, I'm like, oh, like this is gonna be like a brainy book. Like, it's gonna be a book where I gotta turn my brain on. And a lot of the time I like to turn my brain off. but I don't feel like this was like that at all. I think it was very easy to digest. It was super easy to read. It was also one that had a lot of deeper themes about like race and society, but it was like very easy to pick up on all those themes. Like it would be great for a book club. I love this one. I absolutely loved it. And it is wild to say that I love that one as much as I did, because I did not expect to love it. Even though so many of you guys said that I would, I just was like, I don't know. Like this seems very like highbrow. Like this seems like I gotta turn my brain on a little too much, and it was really good. Speaking of other books that I loved, I really loved reading Summer in the City. This was an arc that I got, and I had been waiting a while to read it, and I finally picked it up, and it came out I think on the 25th. This was really cute. If you guys are looking for like a cute romance that will literally make you feel like you're watching a rom-com, please pick this one up. There are so many scenes in this that I'm like, oh, I could totally see this in a movie. There's a scene where they like go all around New York City and they try all the best pizza places because they want to see what's the actual best pizza in the city. Like there are just a lot of cute moments, and it definitely feels like a rom-com. So if you're someone who loves a good rom-com, you'll definitely love this. I also feel like this is one that had tension versus like actual like spice, which was great. You don't really get into like the full-on like spicier scenes until later in the book, and most of the book is like just tension, which is actually my favorite way to digest a romance. So yeah, really love this one. I definitely will be reading more from Alex Astor. I had never read anything of hers, but she's the author who wrote Lightlark. And her writing is just fun. It is very easy to read, very fun. I think that this would be a book that I would also recommend to new readers because it was just very enjoyable. And then I also read The Love Simulation. Guys, I will read anything that Etta Easton writes. I don't care. This had forced proximity. This had like the just ooey gooey like romance that I look for in a little rom-com, especially when, well, I don't know if I'd say like rom-com, because like when I think of rom-com, this is what I think of, but in a cutesy romance, like in a fluffy romance, this is exactly what I look for. I also feel like there are so many new authors that are like coming on the rise, and it's great for readers because like we're never gonna run out of books. We're literally never gonna run out of books. Like I just read The Kiss Countdown for the first time last year, and I was so surprised by how much I loved it. I ended up rating The Kiss Countdown 4 stars and was so highly anticipating this book, and it just makes me realize that like I could find my new favorite author this year or next year or the year after. It's like there's so many authors that are going to come out of the woodwork, and they're going to be recommending, or they're going to be writing books that I will recommend, and it's just like never ending. So I got really excited when this book came out, and I cannot wait to read more from this author, because as a debut author, like being able to be in Barnes & Noble has to be such a dream, and I love supporting those authors. Another book that I read that was another cutesy read, I feel like I was in a very cutesy read mood, was Change of Heart. I've never read anything by this author. I've seen a lot of books by this author, but I just have never picked up anything. I think because I was on this like kick where I was like, 3-star reads don't matter, 3-star reads are silly, like why would I buy a book that's not gonna be a 5-star? And then I came to realize that like some books are just enjoyable in the same way that I might watch Girlfriends or The Office or just some other show I'm gonna like turn on just to have in the background. Doesn't mean that that like show is like gonna get all these accolades or it's gonna get all these awards or anything, but it is gonna be a comfort for me, and it's gonna be something enjoyable at that time. And I feel like that's what I'm learning more about these like books that I typically will rate 3 or 3.5 stars. They are fun. They're freaking fun. I will recommend them. I just have to let people know, like before I recommend them, like, hey, this isn't probably gonna be a 5-star read. I mean, maybe it will be for you, you know what I mean? But like 9 times out of 10, it's just gonna be enjoyable right while you read it. And I really enjoyed this one. It was very cute. I will say the Annabelle Monaghan, there's like a little blurb on it that says it's like laugh out loud funny. I don't know if I would say it's laugh out loud funny. Like I wasn't like laughing out loud, but I did have a really fun, cutesy good time. This would be perfect for the summer. And as it's getting warmer, I feel like these are the books that I really gravitate to. Guys, this might be, I don't know, I have a few books left, but I'm trying to see what, yeah. This might be my favorite book of the entire month. Like it actually might be. Like I'm so serious, it might be. when I really think about what I enjoyed out of this stack, I mean, there's so many that I enjoyed. Like, I'm looking back on all of these. I don't know if this is my favorite. I don't know, but this is definitely up there, and it is so freaking underrated. This is another book that I feel like gives me like Icebreaker vibes, and not Icebreaker by Hannah Grace that's like all the spice, but Icebreaker by Hannah Grace that gives the found family, and it gives the friend group that you're obsessed with. It gives the school aspect that you're obsessed with. I don't know. I just loved Capture the Moment, and I wish that I had talked more about this in the video whenever I was reading it. I talked about it a little bit, but not as much as I planned on it, and maybe it's because I didn't finish it in the video. I don't know. I just feel like this book is so freaking underrated, and I cannot wait to read more from this author. This is going to be another one of my auto by authors. I feel like if you like Janisha Boswell's writing, you will love this author's writing. It's just fun, and you will actually laugh out loud with this like book. I laughed out loud so many times. There's so many like memorable moments like in this book. There's a section where they're doing like Never Have I Ever, I think that's what it is, and they end up having to like spend 7 minutes in heaven in his bedroom. And like, it just, you could tell that he's like, we don't have to do anything. Like, you know, we just can just hang out here. And she's like, oh, you think that I'm like scared of you? Like, you think that I'm like, or she's like, oh, are you scared? Like, she calls him like a creeper as like a joke, just because he's like always kind of like there. He's always like popping up, but it's because he's like so enamored by her. I just love this. If you want to get the nostalgia of being in college, this is the book to pick up, because the friends being like, what should we wear to parties? Like, oh, so-and-so's having a party. Are you gonna go? And like, you know, them trying to like juggle that with like sports and stuff, and her dad is the hockey coach. It's just so good. And you're also seeing this thing that's happening behind the scenes that I can't like say too much about because I don't want to spoil it, but she's constantly getting all these texts from this person that's like, you think that you can hide from me, like you think that like this is just gonna go away. And it is like one of those books that's really fun, but also you're seeing that there's something deeper going on too. I love this. I freaking love this. Now, this is not on Kindle Unlimited, so you will have to purchase it, but I do think that you will absolutely be obsessed with it, and you will not be sad that you bought this book. So please, buy this book. If you're wanting just like a fun, good time, like something that's funny, gonna make you laugh, that has some spice, that's by a Black author, please pick this book up. Please pick it up. Please pick it up. I'm gonna talk about this book in probably wrap-ups. Like, it's just gonna be a book that I cannot stop talking about because it was so enjoyable. I also read The Love Lyric, and this one was the last book in the series, and I read The Neighbor Favor. I also read The Partner Plot. I read The Partner Plot like last month, so I was kind of able to easily like compare the two because I just finished The Partner Plot. I don't know if this one was my favorite out of all of them. I feel like it just had a lot going on, and I almost wish that, I don't know, it was like, I think the thing that I liked the most was the tension. Like, the tension between the characters was palatable on the page, but I feel like there was a lot going on with like the kid and then like the music industry, and like it seemed like the like story needed to be streamlined a little bit. I don't know, it felt a little, I don't know, and maybe because I was going into this expecting like a true rom-com, like just something that's fluffy, fun, isn't too anything, like, I don't know, I just expected it to be a little bit more clear-cut, and I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but it was enjoyable. But I think if I were to choose which was my favorite out of all of them, it would probably be The Neighbor Favor, I think. And I don't know, I think that this would probably be tied with The Partner Plot. I just don't think that it would be my favorite out of all three. I think The Neighbor Favor still tops the book, like, or the books out of the series, and I think it's because I knew what I was getting into. I knew what to expect. It was just like cutesy, fluffy, fun, nothing too deep, and it was what it was, and I don't know, I enjoyed this. It sounds like I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I just think that it wasn't what I expected it to be. And whenever I go into a book, I have to almost always like go into it with an expectation. It has to meet that expectation, because usually like I'm just a big mood reader. So usually I'm picking a book based on that mood. So like when I'm reading a fluffy cutesy read or want to read one and I pick it up and it doesn't feel like that, it feels like a little bit deeper, I'm like, I was looking for the fluff, I was looking for the cutesy. Or if I'm going in for something that's like heartfelt and deep and it ends up being like fluffy and cutesy, I'm like, wait, I wanted to cry. Like I feel like sometimes me as a mood reader probably isn't the best for books, because it really does come down to like right book, right time for it to be like something I'm obsessed with. But did really enjoy this, and I definitely would recommend it and will continue to recommend Christina Forrest books. It's actually my 4th book that I've read of hers. Her writing is just fun. Enjoyed that one. And then, guys, I read Capone by Jaquel J and immediately bought book 2. I immediately bought book 2. It leaves on a cliffhanger. I have not started book 2 yet, but I want to very, very soon. And I think the thing that I loved most about this one is you can tell that this is going to be a very well done series, because most books, and I shared this in a vlog, but like most books, I feel like the series is kind of like this one, where it's like 3 sisters and then like their love lives, or you know, it's a hockey team, and in the hockey team there's like all the different characters and they each have a book. Like you don't really get one character throughout a whole series. Like it just doesn't happen as much anymore. And maybe because people think that like readers will get bored or something. I don't know, but I love that. I freaking love that. So this is about Capone and it's about Aaron, and you can see that their love is building. But what I love the most is that I know going into book 2 that they aren't fully where I wanted them to be at the end of book 1. Like they aren't that like so obsessed, so in love, like I want to propose to you right now type of like love story in this one yet. And that gives room for growth in book 2. And so I think when you do a series like this, you kind of have to have it where it leaves off either on a cliffhanger or it leaves you wanting more. And it's very hard to do that and make a story feel finished. Like this doesn't feel unfinished. It just feels like there's still more to be had, but I don't feel like I have to I don't feel like I didn't get a good story with this one. I'll say that. I love this. I think I rated this one 4 stars, and I can easily see myself rating other books in this series higher as I continue to read it. And I also saw that there is another series about this main character's brother, Capadonna, twin brother, and people have said that that series is even better than this one. So this one is everything that everyone said that it is. Now, again, you have to go into this expecting there's going to be some shootouts. There's going to be, you know, some wild stuff happening. Know that before you go into it. Don't go into this expecting it to be like fluffy and cutesy, you know, because you will be like, what the heck? These are different. These are different books, but these are incredibly enjoyable books just in different ways. And that's why I have to go into books with the right mood. Like I have to, like I'm such a mood reader. I have to go into the books expecting something and getting what I expect, because like when I went into this I was like, oh, I'm expecting a shootout. Did I get that? I got a few, so I was very happy. I also read The Problem with Dating. This is a book that I also really enjoyed. It's a very cutesy little small town romance. I don't know if this is my favorite book from Brittany Cherry. I think I've read like 12 books by her or something. Like she's literally one of my favorite authors. Author by author, I love anything that she writes. This one, I expected it to have a little bit more like melodrama like she usually has in her books, and those books that kind of just like keep you wanting more. Like usually I finish her books in 24 hours. I'm not even kidding. Like the Element series, every book in that series I finished in 24 hours pretty much. I think there's one book I didn't finish in 24 hours. All the other ones, like the 3, I think the Fire Between High and Low I finished in 24 hours. Like there's so many books in that series I finished in 24 hours. This one did not have that same like fast-paced feel. It felt like a cozy read. It felt like a cozy small town read. I think that this would be perfect for fall, or would be cozy. It would be perfect if you're wanting a cozy read that's just like not a ton of like anything wild. There is some melodrama at the end. I will say that. There is some melodrama, but for the most part, it's just a cozy small town, you know, read. So enjoyable, but probably wasn't one of my favorites. And then I also read Culty by Mariana Zapata. This was not what I expected it to be. I didn't really like it, and I think it's just because the guy did not like her in this book, like most of the book. And I need a guy to be obsessed with me. I don't care. But I think it's because I have a husband who's obsessed with me, and so I'm like, why would I want to read a romance about people in a book, or a romance about a guy who doesn't even treat the girl in the book the way that I'm being treated by someone that loves me. Like, I don't know. It just is like, you need to be obsessed with her. You need to get it together. It just, the whole time I was reading, I was like, I don't like that. And I just don't think that the grumpy sunshine is for me unless the grumpy guy is grumpy to everyone else but her. I think that that's where it like changes the game. So like this book definitely has grumpy sunshine, but he is like mean to everyone except for her. She's the one who like opens him up and like makes him like nice to the rest of the people in the town. This, it was like, he's not even nice to you. Like, what makes you special? So I don't know. Some of you guys were saying read From Luke Off with Love, and that one doesn't have, like, he's not as grumpy, and some of you guys were saying wait for it. I think that's what it's called. The character isn't as grumpy. The slow burn to me, I think, was harder because he was grumpy and you don't get his POV. So it's like so long, and at the very end, like very, very end is when I see them together, but the whole book, the whole entire book, he's just like not into her. I mean, he is, like we find out later, it's like he is into her, but he's not showing it. So I'm like, well, why do I like him? Like, why do I like this guy? Why do I want them together? There's nothing that is pulling me in. I do think that if I had read this and it had his POV and he was grumpy, I would enjoy that, because I'm like, ooh, secretly I know he likes her. Like, but I don't really get that until the very end. I don't really get to see that, like, oh, he's like doing all these things because he cares about her. Like, you just, the whole book, I just was like, okay. So, you know, they have this whole cute weekend, and then like she tries to get close to him in front of his friends, and he like pulls back, and she's just like hurt by it, and she just has to leave it at that. Like, that would have been a great time for his POV. So I'm definitely going to continue to read more by this author. I just feel like I have to read the right book by this author. So not my absolute favorite. That was probably my least favorite book actually out of the entire month, maybe, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I read so many great books, 16 books, and a lot of you guys ask how I read so many books. Honestly, the biggest way for me to read a lot of books is to wake up early. I wake up at 5 a.m. to read before work, and that really, really helps. I also feel like making sure that I like make time for myself every single day, even if it's only 15 minutes. Like, if you read 15 minutes a day, you know, in 2 days, that's 30 minutes. And like, you can read a lot in that time. And I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people ask, how do you read so much? And genuinely, the biggest thing is like, I just make it a priority. And not even make it a priority where like, it's over anything else, but like, I don't really watch TV, like, at all. Like, I started watching Severance, and I was telling Brady, I was like, people who watch TV, you have so much time that you could be reading, because like, these episodes are forever. Like, we watched, I think we're almost done with season 2, and the last episode is like over an hour. I think it's like an hour and a half or something like that. And like, most episodes are right at an hour. So you watch 2 episodes in a night, that's 2 hours. Like, you can finish a book in a few hours if you really like, you know, if you're reading something that's like right under 300 pages, like, you can cook that thing out. So I don't know, I just feel like that for me is also something that helps, is not really having other hobbies that take the place of reading. So anyway, you guys will see lots of book recs coming soon, because I have tons of trips, and I feel like on trips, it's hit or miss sometimes, but on trips I do feel like I read a lot if I'm with people who also like to read, which the next 2 trips I will be. In the past, I've been on trips with people who don't really read, which it's like, well, obviously people want to do stuff, whereas when you're with people who read, they're like, yeah, we can sit and read for like 4 hours. I'm happy with that. So yeah, the next few trips we're going to be on are going to be really, really relaxing and slow and just so nice and on the beach. I'm going to be reading so much. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.